For 10 long years, a phantom gang haunted the highways of southern India, leaving behind a horrifying trail of chaos and death. Their tactics were absolutely brutal, their movements untraceable. This is the story of that reign of terror and the incredible decade-long manhunt to finally bring it to an end. Our story really kicks off right here, on a pitch-black, deserted stretch of highway about 60 kilometers from Chennai. The year is 2005, specifically the early hours of January 8th. Everything is silent, the nearby villages are fast asleep, and they have absolutely no idea of the violence that's about to erupt. The time is exactly 2:15 in the morning. A lorry has just rolled to a quiet stop about half a kilometer away. A group of men are now moving, completely silent, through the darkness, heading straight for a house at the entrance of the village. And just like that, the stillness is completely shattered. With one swing of an axe, the wooden front door of the house just smashes inwards. An armed gang storms inside. And look, this isn't just any house. This is the home of K. Sudarsanam, a sitting member of the Legislative Assembly. Sudarsanam is woken up by the crash. He comes out of his room holding a sickle, ready to defend his family. But the moment the intruders see that weapon, a single deafening gunshot echoes through the house. He collapses, shot right in the chest. What followed that single gunshot was just an explosion of brutal, calculated violence. It was an attack that would shock the entire state and launch one of the most intense investigations it had ever seen. The gang moved with this terrifying efficiency. With Sudarsanam lying dead on the ground floor, they rushed upstairs. They beat his son, Satish Kumar, so badly with iron rods, he actually lost consciousness. They twisted his wife Geetha's arm and ripped jewelry right off her body at knife point. All of this while their 8-year-old daughter was clinging to the attackers' legs, just pleading with them to stop. The gang completely ignored her, looted almost 60 sovereigns of gold, and then just vanished back into the night. So, as investigators started to piece together what happened on that horrific night, they uncovered something deeply disturbing. This wasn't a random one-off crime. It was actually the bloody finale to a decade of terror, all carried out by the exact same gang. Let's take a look at this timeline. The first known attack was way back in 1995 in Wala Japept. A man was killed, his family brutally injured. Then, after a 5-year gap, they popped up again in 2001. But 2002, that was the peak of their violence, with 8 separate robberies across the state. They just kept striking again and again, leading all the way up to the high-profile murder of MLA Sudarsanam in 2005. And the numbers? Well, they really put the horror into perspective. Over 10 years, this one gang was responsible for at least 24 highway robberies. Those robberies resulted in 13 deaths and left 63 people seriously injured. The sheer scale of what they were doing was just staggering. And in every single case, their method was chillingly similar. They always targeted homes near highways, they always struck after midnight, and they always used unprovoked, extreme violence. But crucially, as one investigator pointed out, the gang only spoke Hindi, using phrases like chabi do and chup raho. This was a vital clue. It meant the gang wasn't local. So, despite this clear pattern, actually catching them was a whole different story. For years, the police were basically chasing shadows. This gang was so elusive, so disciplined, that they became known as the Ghost Gang. The investigation was just a maze of dead ends. I mean, you can imagine the frustration. They'd lift fingerprints from crime scenes, but they never matched anyone in the police records. Neighboring states had similar unsolved cases, but no concrete links could be made. Special teams traveled to 4 different states investigating known criminal tribes, but they came up empty every single time. And to make things even worse, the police records in the northern states, where they suspected the gang was from, were so poorly kept that the search was almost impossible. So with no forensic matches, no witnesses who could identify them, and no leads from any other states, the police were facing a massive question. How do you catch a ghost? And for a very long time, it seemed like there was no answer. But then, after years and years of dead ends, a single clue emerged, and it would blow the entire case wide open, and you won't believe where it came from. Yeah, the big break didn't come from a new crime scene or some fancy high-tech database. The answer was actually hiding in plain sight, buried in the dusty pages of a 1996 register of transit prisoners at Agra Central Jail. And then, on February 1st, 2005, an inspector on the investigative team found it. A single thumb impression taken almost a decade earlier. It was a perfect match to 4 of the random prints they'd recovered from the crime scenes in Tamil Nadu. And this is where it all just clicked into place so brilliantly. That one print identified a man named Laxman, a known criminal from the Bawaria community in Rajasthan. So now the police had a name and a location. During his arrest, they found a schoolgirl's notebook that, incredibly, had a list of phone numbers for the entire gang. Call records and confessions quickly confirmed it all. They had finally found their ghost gang. So who were the Bawarias? Well, they were one of the most violent criminal groups in the country, and they specialized in these nighttime highway attacks. They used lorries with hidden compartments to conceal their weapons and would park miles away from their targets, walking in on foot. And their trademark? Extreme, senseless brutality. Okay, so with the gang finally identified, the whole mission shifted from investigation to apprehension. The police now knew exactly who they were looking for, and it was finally time to bring them to justice. Tamil Nadu police teams actually camped out in the region for days, and in the end, a total of 13 gang members were arrested, including the leader, a man named Om Prakash Bawaria. The decade-long manhunt was at last over. So, the trial for the Sudar Sanam murder case, the crime that really kicked off this final phase, went ahead with 4 key members. In the end, Jagadish, Rakesh, and Laxman, yep, the same guy whose thumbprint broke the case, were all found guilty and sentenced to multiple life terms. A 4th man, a schoolteacher named Jiljar Singh, was acquitted because there just wasn't enough evidence. And in what has to be the most powerful and just poignant conclusion to this story, the judge specifically pointed to the testimony of the youngest witness, the 8-year-old girl who had begged the attackers to spare her family, had, in the judge's own words, clearly seen their faces and credibly identified them. Her testimony, he said, was absolutely unassailable. You know, the Bavaria case stands as this monumental achievement in policing. It's really a testament to persistence against impossible odds. But it also leaves us with this lingering question. It took one lucky fingerprint to solve 24 cases. And that makes you wonder, for every ghost gang that gets caught, how many more are still out there just operating in the dark?